Hi, everyone, and welcome back to an important transmission from Dark Matters Network. And in our series with Mr. Blue, aka Robin Hood, aka you get the idea, we're going to launch straight into it. So we've got Robin Hood, Mr. Blue, back with us today because we wanted to talk about the UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code, which governs all commerce. But there is a specific way to utilise it, and Robin Hood wants to come and clarify how so that people aren't getting themselves into a pickle. Please, as I always say, do watch our previous episodes to give this some context about who we are and what we are doing. And without further ado, over to you, Robin Hood.
Thank you very much, Gally. Good morning, everybody. What I would like to just say is, it's great news in America. It's great news in Australia because apparently, I'm just checking it out today, somebody else has used the same format the UCC won to flip themselves from debtor to creditor, which is fabulous. But what we've got to realise in this country, it is the corporates themselves. What you've got is Parliament is nothing more than a corporation. Everything within Parliament is a office of Parliament, right? Is an office of Parliament. So the police force, office of Parliament, register, land registrar, DVLA, all officers of the Parliament. That's it. It's one giant corporation. They're running under UCC codes, but we're just trying to figure out if we're under UCC. Now, I've heard today that they put us under UCC from 2023. Now, I can't find any evidence of that, but I am checking it. But what you've got to realise is that we're slightly different from America and Australia. Yes, they have our constitution, but this is where the viper's nest started, is England. It was done by the popes from 1152, 13, whatever, where they claimed the crown of the souls, which is the crown of the air. This crown was then given to King Henry VIII in 1545 under the secret Verona Treaty with the Vatican. It was then called the reaping of the souls. This is the birth certificates and the nonsense that came out. This is turning all the sovereign people, as from the 1215 Magna Charta, we were all given freedoms and our own liberties, protections and sovereignty. Hence the rebellion in 1688-89, because they tried to change this again. Look what they've done at the 1835 Municipals Act. It's repealed, dissolved, because they've done all this before. They've tried to perfect it. So what I'm suggesting is be very careful. Look at the Banking Act of 2008. They removed all promissory notes, bar the Bank of England's. The Bank of England is a private corporation. It's not ours. All your taxes are corporate profits because we are paying under the dead crown of the air, under maritime law jurisdiction. We are vessels. We're not. The holy book of the Holy Gospel states that we are temple vessels of the soil. We are not vessels, ships. They don't call ships vessels. It's a perversion of the word. A vessel in ancient times was nothing more than a sealable jug. It was a vessel to carry. It's like our body. It's a sealable vessel. When we die, we return to the living earth to nourish it. Our entity, the soul, rises into the air to rest and then carry on its way. The Vatican, by the popes in 1300 and something, declared that they were going to take the crown of air to protect the souls and trap them here, and we have to pay for the twin. As it's got later on, it's even more perverse. They've even taken our skin as the vessel, as the carrying vessel. Honestly, you could not write this. It is so weird, unbelievable. Honestly, it's nuts. even in America, he's asked the question, okay, it's the cord, it's the placenta. The placenta lives for 5 days. Your cord can live up to an hour after giving birth. The reason they cut it and why all these kids at the minute are suffering with this, and this is because they're not getting their full quota of blood, because the cord actually is about 40 to 60 centimeters long. You are supposed to lay the child on the mother's chest to form the bond and allow all the nutrients from the pancreas and the DNA of your ancestry roam back into the children. And all of the stem cells that protect the child from forever, basically. Excuse me, sorry about that. And this is where the perversion begins, right? And especially later on, because all they're doing, they're telling you it's clinical waste, it not. You go straight to the laboratory and they extract all these stem cells and everything else. They do weird and wonderfuls. It's now classed as your dead twin. That's how sick this gets. It is classed as your dead twin. The birth certificate is not you being registered. It is your dead twin persona. That's how they perverted you into a dead legal fiction strawman corporation nonsense. It's so perverse, it is sickening. So please be very careful when you're doing the UCC1. I have got friends that have done the UCC1 and they are in prison. And they have their UCC1. They're not supposed to be in prison under UCC1 guidelines because they're no longer the debtor, they're no longer the legal fiction. But because they haven't stood on the land and the soil of the earth prior, that's the key. Claim your own sovereignty, claim your rights back, and claim the man that you are. You're not the persona. And there is a way to do it in law, which I will go into at a later date once I've perfected what you need to do. Because everybody's learning this on the hop at the minute. We've got to reinstate our constitutional values, principles, and standing under the imperial crown of the soils of England, the living soil of England. Without that, you are trapped in their realm. Sorry, Carly, I can see your mouth moving. I know you want to jump in. You're not on the air, love. You're not speaking. Turn you on.
All right, hang on. Turn myself on. Right. Yeah, what I was going to ask, just to give people a little bit of backdrop, if they don't kind of, can you just give us a brief overview of the UCC and what it is? It just for those that are kind of new to this concept, because obviously most people are aware of the dead fiction, but this is kind of another level up. And I know, like we've said before, sometimes we can exchange things in a way that we understand. So I suppose I was just, if you could give a paragraph as a
Yeah,
context for people, like what a
right. The
secure party.
UCC is the Uniform Commercial Code. It's for all businesses to run easily and to know who you're dealing with in commercial terms. Basically, they can look up your credit score. They can see who they're dealing with within the blink of an eye if you're a member of the UCC, right? And all it is corporation to corporation. And what you've got to understand that all our public buildings, public lands are under UCC. They can't be under UCC. The government doesn't own them. But this is the perversion. Because they've now put us under the usury, beneficial, and beneficiary only, that means we can buy, we can pay for, but we can never own. They've removed the common law right, divine right of the holy gospel of ownership. God granted the land to the man. He didn't grant it to the corporation. And the corporation can own nothing.
Yeah.
Now that's the point. Now they've turned you into a dead corporation, legal speak, right? And look person up in Black's Law Dictionary. You are a thing, a monster, a strong man corporation. A person can also be now a man. What? So this is the perversion that they've done. If you look at the older Black's laws, it tells you you're a sea monster. You're a thing. You're a dead legal fiction, which means corporation. And this is how they've done it. But it goes back to 1152 by the Crown of the Air. It was gone back to 1545, roughly, when the Verona Treaty took place. And it's called the Reaping of the Souls. And all it
So
is nothing more than to securitize you through Lloyd's of London and sell you for your taxes that you earn. And they're quite
yeah,
right in America. We've all seen the thing on the news. There's approximately £1 billion in your account. There's actually more because you've more than one account. This is the
yeah,
big secret. Because if you're called Steve Asda, they send you it in all caps, Steve Asda. Then they send you it in Mr. Steve Asda. Then it's Mr. S. Asda.
of course, yeah, yeah. So they've all got
Right?
separate accounts and or
So they've all
QC.
got separate. They've literally, it's called securities fraud. They've securitized it and they've committed fraud against themselves
Yeah, yeah. And to
by
make ourselves a secured
securitizing us.
party creditor with the UCC, but you have to use it, if I'm getting this correctly, alongside with the common law and with trust law. And like you
Yep.
say, you have to get yourself on the land as the living
Yes.
before you can utilize the UCC, well, work alongside the UCC in creating that court of record to
Yep.
do A, B, C, D, F, G and
Yep.
gain remedy, etc.
Yes. And what you've got to also understand is that they're trapping you in a magistrate's court. A magistrate court has no jurisdiction. It's not even a real court. And now they're all administrative courts. Look it up in Ellsbridge. It's there. Look it up in Black's Law. Look it up in Archibald 2025 law. There is no jurisdiction for an administrative court. It is there to conduct the public corporations. Look it up. It tells you the public corporations or government corporations business. You are a servant of Rome. It's as simple as that, guys. They've absolutely perverted and distorted your reality without us even knowing. We're walking on earth. No, you're not. You're floating above it in the usury, beneficiary nonsense of the Crown of the Air. You're paying for your dead twin and for the Vatican and for them to monopolize and commit securities fraud, trust fraud, and basically it is subverting your constitutional. And I know that's a dirty word to most people on the internet. You know, yeah, it's too old. It's all this, that, and the other. What a load of nonsense. It is in perpetuity forever. It
Yeah.
states it in all of it. They cannot remove it. Parliament was not constructed. Therefore, anything before Parliament of 1688 is untouchable.
Yeah.
Anything after 1688 can and will be removed as to case law, as to the laws and rights of the imperial crown. Everybody thinks, oh, it's just the crown. It's not. You're all working from the inner city of London's Crown of Vatican. It's a perversion. It's an absolutely disgrace. And I've got all the evidence. And, you know, you've seen a lot of it, Carly. It's all there. It's all being ready. The sheriff documents are ready. We've got to get our common law sheriffs up and running ASAP.
Yeah,
And
and
the
I'm
only
I'm
way we do
putting
that,
those documents up onto a drive so that people can, just download them straight away. And I'll add it to the previous video just for everybody who's watching this, who's watched the previous rally speech by us both. But you can also email us as well, and I'll put the email below to find
yep,
us if you're struggling. But it should be fairly simple once I've done it today.
yep. But this is what the police don't have. They don't have our consent because they don't need it. We're dead. We're a legal fiction. We don't exist. Well, I exist. Right? They kidnap us under maritime law. Their
Yeah.
cars are checkered in the blue and yellow, and we and you are going to do this next week. But just to give you a quick heads up, it's blue and yellow check. Right? It is a maritime naval signal to stop immediately. We need to discuss because you've no radio, no blah blah blah. That's what it means. Once you've stopped, because they've told you to stop. That is contract and joinder. You are under them unless you explicitly get out of the car and go, who the fuck do you think you are? I do not contract, I do not joinder. I am the man upon the living soil, under the holy gospel and imperial crown. Now, who the fuck are you? And I want full disclosure. Because they're a corporate entity. Check it out. All Crown agents were dissolved in 1997 and repealed. They all went to the Companies Act 1985. It's there on internet for you. All those people that are scathing and don't believe me, it's there. Do a little bit of your own research. But the one thing that common law constables will have is the imperial crown, which is the sovereignty to work from. That's the people's right to have their own officers working for them. That's why it's so important, guys. I've done the lawful documents and legal documents that now change us from persona to man. They're ready. So please, I know there's a lot of people going on there. They're going to use promissory notes to pay off their mortgage. They're going into things. Ensure you have your paperwork correct, because you knack this up, you knack it up for everybody that follows you.
Yeah.
So please be very clear that you're stood on the sovereign soil as to the Holy Book. And the Holy Book is, never mind the Bible, it is the Holy Gospel. Okay? So this is a warning. Please make sure that you are absolutely on terra firma. You are not on their liquid nonsense of air, sea, right?
It's
Under
the land, isn't
maritime
it?
nonsense. The
Terra
land
comes
rules
from the
all.
Irish word tara, which is land, and that's why they disconnect us from the land as the body, and the
Yep.
land represented as standing under the soul of the foot.
This is why they've changed all our footwear from leather, which allowed the earth's pulsators up to us to stuff that won't sing. That's why they put rubber caps on all the canes.
Yeah.
This is why they've stopped the bells ringing, because they are laid on ley lines.
Yeah.
But that's a tale for you, because you're better into that than me.
Yeah, they built the churches around the yew trees. You'll always find yew trees in churches because they were the
Yep.
portals as well. But anyway, without going
We're
a little bit
digressing.
into that,
But
we'll
seriously, guys,
keep it simple.
if you're using the UCC, make sure, and UCC 1, make sure that you've got your, I hate to say the status correction because it's not. It is that you have lawfully corrected their nonsense off you and stood back under your constitutional imperial crown and upon the living soil of England as a constitutional man. That's it.
That's it. So we'll keep this transmission short, if I can even say it, because we will be doing some longer videos, won't we, in the next
Yep.
coming weeks. So if you want to find out more, come and join us at www.therealmofengland.com. If you want to join the site, that helps us, helps Robin Hood do this work. And we will put the sheriff forms on the previous video for people who want to download them straight from a drive. Bear with me, I'll get that done. And we've got hundreds of files being sorted out in the site at the moment. So like I say, please do join us, or at least spread this word, spread these videos, and get the awareness out there of this. So again, thanks very much for watching. Robin, thank you for the update, and we'll be back and see you soon with more information and more ways to bring down this treasonous, tyrannous nonsense. Thanks very much.